Hi, everyone, and welcome to Everything But the Law, where we literally talk about everything but the law. Today, I have a very, very special guest. His name is Nick Blatin. He is Los Angeles' #1 hard money lender with over $400 million loaned out on properties in all of Southern California. With that being said, here's Nick. Nick, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Miriam. Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Really excited to be here.
I don't know if you've seen my first episode, but what I like to do is get my guest's favorite drink. And I know your favorite drink is tequila and pineapple. That's also my favorite drink, other than the Prosecco that I usually always have. But if you want to take it up a little notch, then I go with tequila and pineapple. So I have some drinks here for us. Let's take a shot and get this podcast going.
100%. Let's do it.
Perfect.
Can't say no to free tequila. Okay. Here we go.
Exactly.
Cheers.
Ooh, a little rough.
I thought it was good. That's some good. What kind of pineapple juice is that? Is that Dole?
Trader Joe's.
Oh, got you.
Trader Joe's, I was going to say vodka, tequila, and Trader Joe's pineapple juice. Anyway, once
Shout out
again.
to TJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not TJ
Not
Maxx.
Tijuana. Oh, okay. Different.
Anyway,
Okay.
Thank you again so much for joining us. I want to know now, hard money lending, it sounds really good, sounds really cool. What does it mean?
So hard money lending, it's loan sharking. No, I'm totally kidding. It is what it is it's actually an exciting financing option in real estate. It involves kind of the same thing if you've watched like $1 Million Listing. It involves celebrities, it involves multi-million-dollar properties. The only difference is instead of representing them as an agent, we are giving people a loan for their mortgage. It is very similar to a bank loan. So hard money lending is all of the same paperwork that a regular mortgage is. So when you go to buy a house, you go through you get title insurance, you go through escrow, there's a deed of trust, there's a promissory note, there's all these things that are standard to any real estate transaction and real estate loan. And a hard money loan is the same thing, except for instead of a bank lending that person money, it is a private individual like myself who is giving them that loan, and then they owe me the money instead of owing a bank. So their monthly payment every month is basically to me and to my investors.
Got it. So, I think you kind of touched on that, but what would you say is like the #1 difference between a traditional loan and what you do?
Sure, yeah. So a traditional, it's known as a conventional mortgage, there's very strict guidelines these days about what it takes to qualify for those loans. So they're going to check your credit, they're going to check income, your assets, reserves, and basically you're going to spread what they say in my industry is you're going to spread your financial legs for the bank and let them see everything, and they'll determine if they can give you a loan or not. And if they can, their process will take usually anywhere from 30 to 60 days to approve you. And from there, they will give you a low interest loan that you have 30 years to pay back. So that's called a 30-year fixed mortgage. In my world, there's less strict underwriting because I can a lot of times qualify a borrower just off of their income or just off of their down payment or whatever that may be. And so our loans are simpler, they're easier to get. And so because of that, we don't need to take 30 to 60 days. We can give them a loan in maybe 5 to 10 days, which is much quicker. And we don't have to basically run through their entire life and tax returns and everything else. So that's the main difference. And also our loans are not 30 years. They're usually 1 to 2 years. So these are short-term loans that they plan on paying off relatively quickly so that they don't have to pay our enormously high interest rates. Banks are typically in the 3 to 7% interest range. Right now they're closer to 6 or 7%. And our loans are closer to 10 to 15% interest. So it's at a much higher premium of a monthly cost.
Got it. So would you say that what you do is more of a non-traditional route, but with that, the rise of non-traditional jobs also comes along with that, whether, you're a celebrity with different types of incomes, influencers. Social media is huge these days. So would you say hard money lending is on the rise now more than it has been? or is it more popular? I guess that's the question.
I would say so. I mean, it's hard to say, it's hard to speak for a whole nation, but particularly where we are in Los Angeles and Beverly Hills, there's a lot of self-employed people, there's a lot of entrepreneurs, there's a lot of celebrities and whatnot, and a lot of these people and these businesses have a very hard time showing their income and qualifying for a bank loan. So very often, these are people that maybe make millions of dollars, maybe they have millions of dollars saved in their bank, maybe they already own 5 properties. And these are people that you would think are rich and a bank should easily qualify them to get a traditional loan. However, when you are self-employed, there's many kind of ways around paying taxes, as we all know, and we hear about these billionaire stories. These people write everything off, and so very often you will go to their tax returns and see, not much income. Maybe they make $3 million a year, but if you look at their tax returns, you would think they make $100,000 a year. And so when they go to the bank and say, hey, I want to buy this $4 million house, the bank is going to say, sorry, it looks like you only make $100,000 a year. You're turned down, you're rejected. And so this wealthy person will have to basically tuck their tail between their legs and then come to someone like me and get a hard money loan to purchase or to refinance a property. And afterwards, they're going to fix whatever that issue was that didn't qualify them in the first place. So they'll actually show all of their income on the following year's tax returns. And then the bank will qualify them and the bank will pay off my loan and they'll owe the bank instead of me. And so everyone's all square.
And do you have a vetting process?
Yeah, so we do have a vetting process, definitely. It kind of comes down to what's known as loan to value, or we call it LTV for short. So as long as we have a lot of equity in the property and I feel safe and comfortable that the borrower has a large incentive to pay me back, then I will ask for more or less items depending. So maybe that's a little complicated, but I'll make it simpler. If someone's buying a $5 million property, okay, and they're putting down 50%, so they're putting down $2.5 million of their own money as a down payment, I'm not going to ask too many questions because I'd be happy to loan them this money no matter what happens. I mean, if they do fail to pay me back, I now basically get to foreclose on this property and I own a $5 million property now that I only paid $2.5 million for. And so that would be a really good situation, technically, on my half. So, and not to mention the fact that anyone who has $2.5 million to put down is not someone who's likely to walk away and let you foreclose on their property. They have too much skin in the game and too much of their own cash that they don't want to lose. On the other hand, if we take that same $5 million property and someone says, I only want to put down 20 or 25% down payment, now I'm going to ask more questions. Now I want to know about your income. I want to know about your cash reserves and other things. It won't be nearly as strict as a bank underwriting process. That takes, like I said, 30 to 60 days. But yeah, it will be slightly more strict. And I have to basically ask enough questions to where I feel comfortable that this person will still be able to pay us back.
And I know it varies, but let's say on average, if someone were to come to you and say, hey, I want a loan, how long does it take for the whole process until you are able to give them a loan?
Yeah, so it's really quick. Honestly, we call it 7 days of hell. So someone will call me on a Monday and they say...
7 days of hell for you?
7 days of hell for me and my team.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically we're the guys that someone calls on Monday and they go, I need to close by Friday. Can you help me?
Yeah.
No bank can do it. And so I'll say, it's going to cost an arm and a leg, but if this is what you need, I'll do it. And so we are, although it seems like we are maybe the last resort or someone you don't want to use, at the end of the day, we are a hero to a lot of people because we're helping people still achieve their dream and their goal in real estate that without us, basically, they would be losing out on these properties and opportunities. And even though they are paying us a high interest rate in the meantime, they might eventually make, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on that real estate in the future. And so it's a small price to pay often to be able to get into the opportunity in the first place.
And you said that oftentimes they also refinance.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so they're going to get out of our loan usually fairly quickly. The two main ways that they end up paying me off, it's not like they make a lot of money and all of a sudden they pay me back, $1 million, whatever we lend. What often happens is either A, they refinance with a bank. So the bank pays me that $1 million I loaned them or whatever it is, and now they owe the bank $1 million instead of me, at a much lower interest rate, or they just sell one of their other properties. So one of our main metrics is seeing if this is not the only property someone owns. We want to see that they have other exit strategies and other properties that they can sell in case things go wrong in their business or in case they can't qualify for a new bank loan. We want to make sure they can sell something and still pay us off.
So that's part of your vetting process as well, I would
100%,
say.
100%,
Okay.
yeah.
Very interesting. And obviously you're very, successful in what you do. And I would like to know a bit more about how you got to where you are now. So if you could share a
Sure.
bit more about that.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to. There's a long version and a short version of the story. So, like, how far back do you want me to go?
As far as you feel is important to mention to that it contributed to where you are today.
Okay, I'm gonna take this back to high school then, because I feel like there's
Okay.
some motivation and inspiration in there, because this was certainly a very rocky path.
Well, and before you do, how long have you been out of high school so we get a picture?
Yeah, I'm 29 years old, so I've been out of high school for 12 years. Yeah, so what happened was I was a wonderful student with a .7 GPA
Point
in high
seven
school.
GPA?
.7 GPA.
How is that even possible?
Oh, it's very possible.
You just don't go to class?
No, you have to make an effort.
I feel like you have to be super smart to get .7.
Yeah, you have to go. You have to make an effort for sure. It's not easy. It's not anyone can do it.
Okay.
But I could do it. Yeah, so I did have a .7 GPA. This is a second semester senior year.
Okay.
So I'm almost done, almost finished and ready to graduate. It's January, and my friend, I don't know if he wants me to name him, so I'm not going to say his name here, but he wanted to roll a joint in class during school.
He probably would not want you to say his name.
Yeah, I'm not going to say his name. Are we allowed to talk? How can we talk about joints on this?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay,
Uh,
I'll tell the story and you
instead
can
of
cut
joints,
it out.
I've heard people on TikTok mention gardening. So he wanted to garden.
Yeah, so my buddy during class wanted to roll at the time maybe
He wanted to garden.
a plant cigarette
Okay.
during class, and he goes, Nick, I need you to post this on Facebook. This is dating myself. This is back when Facebook was popular, but I want you to post this on Facebook. I need a new profile picture. And I go, okay, sure. So in my eyes, I'm doing nothing wrong. I take a picture of him, I post it on Facebook, and I make the caption, yo, Nick, put this on Facebook. I need a new profile picture, in quotes. So I have my out. I have my evidence that he wanted me to do this. 1 hour later, the following class, me and him both get called into the principal's office immediately, and someone had snitched on us. Someone, probably a student or, I don't know, a narc or a teacher who was friends with us. I don't know. Someone basically ratted, and the principal said, basically, we know what you guys are up to. Open your bags. And we opened our bags, and there wasn't good stuff in there. And immediately on the spot, they expel my friend, say, you're not welcome here anymore.
Not even suspend, just expel.
Not suspend, just on the spot, expel, done.
Wow.
And he tries to do the same to me.
Your friend?
No, sorry, the principal tries to
Oh.
expel me as well.
Okay.
And when I say try, I mean, he said, and we're going to expel you too. And I say, for what? And he's like, for what? Like, I just showed you the picture that you guys took. And I go, listen, all I did was take a picture. You didn't find any paraphernalia in my bag, and I wasn't in the picture doing anything illegal. So basically, you have evidence of me taking a photo and posting something on social media. You can't really expel me for that. And he's like, okay, fine, go back to class. About 1 week later, we had a random drug test at my school, and I was the only senior who was drug tested. And I was very positive, and then I got expelled. So
You were destined to get expelled.
I was destined to get expelled. They were gonna find a way to get me out of there. So yeah, after that, I essentially I felt still like I knew I wanted to be successful. I had no idea how, and I knew it wasn't going to be the school route. I knew that the education and college traditional route everyone and all my friends were taking wasn't going to work out for me, no matter how roundabout I went. And so what I did was I accidentally kind of got swindled into one of those pyramid scheme, multi-level marketing makeup sales companies. And they recruited me by saying, we're going to hire you as the manager of a sales team. And I was
You are
like,
the hate girl.
yeah, I guess so.
You know the hate girl?
I do not.
The pyramid scheme, every time a girl gets a DM, be like, hey girl, I'm doing this, I'm starting my own business, this, and that,
okay.
and it's a pyramid scheme.
Like tea. Yeah, no. Yeah, this was before social media was a big like cause of anything. So what happened was they said we want you to be the manager of a sales team and you're going to be a manager in training. So first we're going to have you do sales for a couple months and then, you're going to go into the plan we're putting in for you and you're going to be the manager. And so I said, great, I have no experience, but great. If you want me to be the manager, I will do it. And I quickly realized this is just a door-to-door makeup sales company. And I basically show up, I put 20 bags of makeup in my car, and I start knocking on doors and going up to businesses up and down Ventura Boulevard over here and saying, hey, sorry to bother you. Did you get this yet? And they're like, what? Get what? And I'm like, here, like, check it out. It's eyeshadow and like blush kits. And
This was right after you got expelled? Or
immediately. Yeah, this is pretty immediately. This is when I was like 17 or 18 years old.
Did you graduate?
I did not graduate high school, no.
Wow.
I took what's called a CHESP, which is a California High School Proficiency Exam.
Okay.
But I didn't actually technically graduate.
Okay.
It's kind of like a GED.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so anyway, long story short, I became really good at selling makeup. I was one of the top salespeople in the country, and I was like 18 years old, making like $200 to $250 per day take home, which was really exciting for me. And one day I was at my aunt and uncle's house. My aunt and uncle are mentors to me, and they're people who basically whatever they tell me and whatever advice they give me, I just follow blindly. And so my uncle Alex, he goes, Nick, if you're good at sales, why don't you sell something more expensive? And I literally just sat there like mind blown. Like it cannot be that simple.
Profound.
Yeah, I'm like, is it that simple? Is it that straightforward? And he goes, think about it. How many hours do you work a day selling makeup? And I'm like, I don't know, like 10 to 12. I'm working a lot of hours, 6 days a week. And he goes, okay, you're not really going to work more hours than anything you do. So you're already peaked out in terms of effort and hours. The only thing you can change is how much you make per sale. When I sold a bag of makeup, I would get $8 profit of my own. Mm-hmm. And he said, if you sell cars, you might get $8,000 per sale. If you sell houses, you might get $80,000 per sale. If you sell planes, if you sell businesses, there's levels to it. And it's the same amount of effort, the same amount of work. You're still talking to people and pitching your product either way.
And you were still 18 at the time when your uncle gave you that
advice.
advice.
I'm like 18 years old during this time. And so that advice for me was huge. So that got me into the real estate universe where I basically started off as an agent. I didn't know anything else. All I knew was I know how to sell. And quickly, within a couple of years of doing that, I was cold calling, I was door knocking, I was, imagine a 19-year-old kid trying to convince millionaires to sell their house. I mean, it's very difficult, but...
You were 19 already.
I was 19.
And then you started selling homes.
I started trying to. I don't think my first sale was until I was 20 years old, because it took me actually 11 months.
So you took your real estate exam and everything, or...
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, immediately. Like literally, I think the weekend after my uncle gave me that advice, I was like, okay, it's time to
level up.
Move on. Like I can only make so much doing this makeup thing, and all my friends are going to USC and all these good colleges, and like I need to catch up. I quickly got into the real estate world, and within a couple of years, I was named the #1 agent in LA under 25. I had sold over $48 million worth of real estate. And I just felt like the problem with being a real estate agent I don't think you've had a realtor on this show yet, but the problem is it's basically a popularity contest. There's over 6,000 realtors in LA. Everyone has a real estate agent friend, family member, etc. And it becomes a popularity contest. So you're working evenings and weekends and whenever you don't want to work. And so I hated my life. Even though I was good at it and even though I was making money, I knew I didn't want to do that. What I really wanted to do was work with my uncle. And my uncle does hard money lending. He started his company, Private Money Solutions, back in 2001. And I had begged him since I was young, can I come work for you? Can I come work for you? Can I come work for you? And he was like, Nick, this is a gray hair sport. That's what he used to say. You need gray hair. People aren't going to trust you. These are big money, big dollars we're dealing with. And basically, the answer was always no. Until when I finally got named the number one agent in LA under 25, that publication gave me the credibility to go back to him and say, listen, give me a shot. I'll work commission only. If I don't close any deals, great. I'm fired and I'll go back to being an agent.
Let me interrupt you. How did you get named the number one agent in Los Angeles, basically under 25? Like, what is that process? Do you know?
Yeah, so that was strictly a volume-based situation. So basically, they can go to Title or go to the MLS or go to basically real estate platforms that show the sales of each agent and their ages and their names and information. And so I had just done the most sales volume for any agent under the age of 25.
Wow, that's really impressive.
Yeah, at least within LA County. I mean, I don't know. I'm
still,
sure in New York and Miami.
LA County is huge, so.
Yeah. And they're, again, like, I'm trying to, there's not many agents under 25 in LA. So I don't think I had too much competition. But regardless.
I feel like you're downplaying it a little bit, but okay.
It did show at least some sort of credibility that I was willing to take my life seriously and not be the expelled high school kid from the past. So
yeah, got it. I just had to ask you that. So back to what you were saying, which is that you became the number one agent under 25 in Los Angeles, and then your uncle finally hired you?
Yeah, so he finally hired me and said, we'll give you a shot. We're not paying you anything. No salary, no nothing, no hourly. And if you bring in deals, great. And if you don't, great. Go back to being a realtor. So to me, it was kind of a no-brainer. Might as well try. I can always come back to this. So yeah, and that kind of, that's it.
And so how many years have you been doing this now?
I technically did my first hard money loan like 9 years ago. However, officially working for him was now 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay, so you've been doing it for a bit.
Yeah.
And do you think, let's say 5-10 years down the line, this is still something that you're going to be doing?
Oh yeah. I'm doing this forever. It is an amazing, awesome job, and since I've started, I've seen other people attempt to do it and fail and leave the industry, which kind of lets me know, it's kind of validation for me that just says you're in the right place. Like, if you can do it in a world where a lot of people don't succeed, then you're doing the right thing. And plus, I like it. There's a thing about being a real estate agent. There's like an artistic standpoint of it where you're showing a house and you're going, look at these tall ceilings and these white walls and this marble floor and whatever. And I never was one to really connect with that. I was always more about the numbers, and I'd remember the sales price and the street address and these things. So doing loans for me is like, it's like heaven for a math nerd like myself, basically.
Do you still feel like you have to do a lot of selling?
Yes and no. When I started doing hard money, the very first thing that I had to do was become friends with mortgage brokers, because what happens is, when you go to buy a property, you're not going to just know what to do to get a loan. You're going to basically call either a realtor or a mortgage broker friend of yours, and they're going to take your file. Your file is like all of your income and credit and all your information, and they shop it around to different banks, and they see which bank can get you the cheapest loan. Okay, so if that mortgage broker happens to know that you're not going to be a good candidate for a bank loan, they will say, hey, Miriam, great news. None of these banks will give you a loan, but I found a solution for you. My friend Nick will give you money. My friend Nick will loan you the money to buy this house. And so within the first basically year of me doing hard money, I became friends with around 350 mortgage brokers in LA. And all of those people basically send me all of my business and my referrals.
So you get leads through them, basically.
Yeah, I get leads through them. So I get about 20 to 30 loan scenarios per day. And out of those 20 to 30, so if we go on a monthly basis, that's anywhere from 600 to 900 loan scenarios per month. And I only say yes to about 10 to 15. So we're picky. We're trying to lend to, as I said earlier, like the successful, wealthy, basically good, strong borrowers.
So I really enjoyed your story and how you became who you are today, a very successful hard money lender. And all throughout you speaking, I have this question, and you have buyers. It's a pretty decent option for a loan. And so what I'm really wondering is, who are the investors? Are you the investor? Do you get other outside investors? How does that all work? Because I have no idea.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, as you mentioned in my intro, we have about $400 million loaned out, but unfortunately, that is not all my own money. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be here. I'd be in, Bahamas. So, we have about 200 private investors that are just people like yourself and their friends and family. And these are people that are looking for an alternative place to put their money as opposed to the standard stock market or buying investment properties or things like that. So what happens is I basically meet people that have money sitting around in their bank account or in their retirement accounts. And I meet them in all sorts of ways. I meet them at networking events. I meet them at my country club. I meet them in rooms like this. Um, and they go, Nick, I have $400,000 sitting in my bank. I was thinking about buying crypto, buying stocks, whatever, but I want to consider investing it with you into hard money loans. What is the benefit of that? And then I will pretty much go on my spiel, give them the rant, and yeah, from there they'll decide if they want to do it or not, and we just raise money organically that way, and yeah, that's how we've gotten to 200 investors.
So if you could sum up your spiel
Yeah.
about what is the benefit in investing in hard money lending, right?
Yeah,
So
no.
what is like the number one benefit?
So there are a ton of benefits. I would say personally it is the number one investment you can make with your own money, bar none, not even close. All of my own funds, 100% of my own funds are in these hard money loans. So I don't own any investment properties, any stocks, any crypto or anything like that. The main thing that we offer is a fixed rate of return, and this is the highest rate of return you can make on a collateralized loan. And so what that means is what I offer to my investors is we basically take a 1% spread on any deal that they fund. So to be more specific, if I'm giving a loan to someone and the borrower who we're loaning money to agrees to pay 14% interest, let's just say, I will call my potential investor and say, guess what? I have a borrower who's ready to pay 14% interest. We are going to make our 1% spread, and you are going to make the remaining 13% interest. It is a fixed rate, it never changes, and every single month you get the same payment. You know what it's going to be. First of the month, no questions asked. And then the investor will ask me, okay, well, what makes this a good, safe deal? How do I know they're going to pay every month?
That was going to be my follow-up question.
Right. And so I'll tell them everything they need to know about the loan to make them feel safe and secure that this is a good person to lend to. So I'll give them basically their credit score, their approximate income, if they have cash reserves, any other metric that I feel is viable to making them feel comfortable about this loan. And these are all things that we can verify. On top of that, I'll give them the property address. What is the property worth approximately? Do they need some comparable properties or comparable sales to prove the value of this property? And what is our loan amount? And what happens if they don't pay? What is the foreclosure process like, etc.? So I'm going to go through all these things. My investor at that point, the person with the money sitting around, has an opportunity to say yes or no. So they can say, yes, deal sounds great. I'd like to give you, my $400,000 for this deal. Or they can say, no, this one sounds risky. It's not my style. It's not my flavor. I'll wait for the next one. And so in that sense, the reason it's such a good investment is because I am not a fund manager. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a wealth manager. I have no control over their money. They get to choose on their own volition where they want to make these loans and who they want to make them to. So having control of your money is a big thing. Second of all, the stock market on average for the last 30 years has gone up about 7-8% a year. However, 40% of those years it's down. So there's big downswings, down 10, 20%, and then big upswings, up 10, 20%. A lot of people do not want to ride this roller coaster, and they cannot stomach or fathom risking losing that money, especially if you're a senior citizen. If you are living off of this life savings of yours, you cannot risk having a bad year in the stock market and potentially losing 10 to 20% of your life savings. And so especially for retired people, this fixed income option where they can say, hey, I'm going to give you my $1 million life savings and I'm going to make 12%, which is $120,000 per year, or $10,000 per month. And I can guarantee I'm going to earn this $10,000 per month. That to them is a huge, huge, huge opportunity and an amazing benefit, and something most people don't know is an option.
Do you think younger investors could also benefit from this?
Yeah, I think anyone who is excited by the concept of guaranteeing that they can make basically 10 to 15% interest is someone who should consider doing this. Now, if you're a young kid and you think you want to make millions of dollars investing and you want to flip properties and you want to buy crypto and you want these crazy, crazy returns and you want to double your money, then yeah, this is not for you. But if you're someone that's maybe risk averse and you work very hard for your money, and maybe you're a doctor or a lawyer and you have your 150 grand saved up, your life savings, you don't want to risk that and you just want to make sure it grows steadily, then yeah, to a lot of people, earning 10 or 15% fixed and essentially guaranteed. I don't want to say it's 100% guaranteed, but it's 99% guaranteed. Mm-hmm. And in the 1% that they don't pay, you own their property instead of getting the loan. So either way, basically you get paid one way or another.
Is there a minimum investment amount?
Typically about $150,000 is the minimum. So that's the reason hard money lending isn't a popular investment, is because
so my $1,300 in my bank account won't do? Okay.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is what keeps this from being popularized. But you'd be surprised. A lot of people, it doesn't matter really if they're high or low income earners. Mm-hmm. By the time people get older and they start saving for retirement, I'll find that most people have over 150 grand. So this does eventually become a viable option to anyone at a certain age.
Well, I've learned so much about hard money lending I did not know was possible. And I'm going to walk out of this podcast myself with so much more knowledge. Yeah. But let me ask you more general questions, I guess. And I wonder, because you are, in my eyes, so successful, what do you define as success?
There's a quote that I like to mention regarding success. I honestly do not know who said it. I want to say it was Jim Rohn, but he says, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And so when I think about it that way, success is not a certain number or an income that you reach or a net worth that you reach. Success is just someone who's working towards their goal and actually actively doing it every day. So basically, if you in your brain know you want to be a teacher and you're waking up every morning and you're going to college or taking the classes you need, you in that moment are successful. Or if you're someone that wants to lose weight this year and you're getting up and going to the gym in the morning, you are being successful. When you choose not to go to the gym that day, you are now unsuccessful that day. So success is something you basically have to earn every single day. There's not a generic, I don't like the generic thing of this person is successful or that person isn't. It is, no matter how rich you are or how fit you are or everything else, you always have a new goal you're working on, and you're either successful of working towards that new goal or you're not. So I'm curious about you, man. Do we have time?
Yeah, we have time.
What made you decide to take the leap? Speaking of success, why did you decide to go from what you were doing and into podcasting, and kind of what is your goal with podcasting?
Okay, that's a good question. I always love a new connection. And most importantly, I love to get to know people on a deeper level. And I do that with my own close friends. I'm always interested in what is going on in their lives. And so I was like, okay, I'm doing all this talking, so why don't I just invite a guest and get to know them on a deeper level, but at the same time also, have a conversation, go back and forth. And so I've wanted to do this for a long time, and I just came up with an idea of let's talk about everything but the law, and here we are. So
I love that. So this is really a organic and connecting thing for you more than it is like a business goal or something along those lines.
yeah, 100%. And I have, I did a traditional route in one sense where I did schooling, I went to law school, I became an attorney, but I've always thought that taking a non-traditional route is just as successful. It really just depends on your personality type. Not everyone fits the same mold. And just I succeeded in that traditional route, and I think there are so many other people like yourself. You said you were expelled in high school, and you could do so well in life. And I just wanted to put that out there and share those stories and get more information and just hopefully be a resource for other people that might be interested in maybe not what you're doing, but maybe use your story as an inspiration to say, okay, well, maybe I didn't do that well in high school, or I got expelled as well, but that doesn't mean my life is over. It's more of, okay, maybe it's I'm going to turn in a different direction.
Yeah, no, I think that's really cool. I think you're inspiring as well because there's a lot of people out there and maybe people listening to this that have wanted to start a podcast or wanted to start their YouTube channel or whatever that is, their business idea. Was there a spark for you or something specific that made you kind of finally take the leap after months of thinking about it?
Well, I quit my job as an attorney.
Okay, that'll do it.
Like a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, and ever since then I've been working on this idea while like looking for I still want to be an attorney. I'm still looking for a job, but this is more of like a passion for me. It's really not about I'm not here like I think I'm going to be like the number one podcast in the world. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and I had some free time, so I was like, okay, when am I going to get this chance again? Because I'm probably going to find a job and work. And
Right.
to start a podcast, especially the way I wanted to do it, I wanted to make sure I'm doing the best that I can, whether that is setting up the lighting that you see or, recording or sound or whatever it is. I wanted to do it to the best of my ability. And there's a lot of work to put on the front end. And I think once you regulate that, you're able to incorporate other things like a job. I like how I'm saying I have to incorporate a job instead of the
Right.
other way around.
Right.
And so I was like, this is the perfect time. And I just went for it and I went all in. And so far I'm having an amazing time.
Yeah, sounds like it was like a now or never type of mentality.
Yeah, and it also felt right. And I thought about before I became an attorney, and I'm a attorney. I've been a lawyer for a little over a year, and I kind of wanted to get over that hump of taking the bar and becoming an attorney, having a little bit of experience, and I thought I would have a better outlook on careers and life in general. So I just thought it was a perfect time. So besides what you do, and I know it takes a lot of your time, what is your number one way to relax?
Oh, that is
Decompress.
so easy. Well, number one is hanging out with my girlfriend and just doing nothing. But besides that, the number one thing is golf. Because I get out there, you get in the sunlight, you're with three of your friends, and you have no obligations for the next 4 hours or so. Golfing is certainly a healthy and
But aren't you kind of working when you're golfing?
yeah, like you put your face on and you're still presenting yourself and you might get a client.
That's not decompressing though.
You might get a client out of it, but it doesn't feel like it. It's it's kind of like this right now. Like, are we working? Technically, maybe yes, but
We're just pounding shots, and then now we're here. So technically,
right. It's
a little bit of
tequila
both.
and chilling, and that's kind of what golf is
Exactly.
like. Except for you got to take out your frustrations by hitting a ball as hard as you can.
Do you have a lot of women that you see golfing?
Not a lot. Maybe 10% of the people out there. Another question for you. By the way, actually, sorry. What is your relaxation peak? And then I have a very important question for you.
Okay, it's exactly what you said earlier. You said you like to just do nothing with your girlfriend. I love to do nothing with my boyfriend, Rhett. We just sit at home. We order food.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go through DoorDash for about 15 hours.
Yeah.
Make the right decision.
Important.
We get the food. We put on we put on a good movie, and that is my ultimate relaxation.
Absolutely crucial.
But so what was your pressing question?
Yeah, who is your dream podcast guest? Or top 3 if there's a debate.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a good question.
Like you can snap your fingers and boom, they're coming tomorrow.
Do they have to be alive?
They can not. Well, let's do one alive, one dead.
Okay, dead I already know. JFK.
JFK, really?
He has such an... Can you imagine a podcast with JFK?
Yeah, I mean, like, hey, how'd you get shot?
You know, yeah.
I mean, what would be your first thoughts? That's what I would ask. Like, who did it? No, I'm kidding. I think we know who did it.
We don't know. That's
we don't know.
That's a whole conspiracy.
Well, there's a conspiracy. Anyway, that's for another podcast.
Those were not the questions I planned on putting forth with JFK. More of like, you know, what was going on during your presidency. Mm-hmm. You know, anyway, more Hollywood questions.
Sure.
You know, he was Nixon and JFK. They had the first TV debate in history in the 60s.
Don't know if I knew that.
People that were listening on the radio said that Nixon won because he sounded more articulate. And the people watching said Nixon had lost because he was sweating on camera.
Oh, and because JFK is handsome.
He's handsome and he was around Hollywood a lot. So he knew to get the makeup done. He knew the lighting would be hot. You know how this lighting is hot.
Smart. Yeah, this
exactly.
Is hot
Anyway. And then so a live...
Sure, yeah.
Live guest.
Like something that can happen.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. I don't know. That's so hard.
You never know. This could be an opportunity for you. They could listen to this and come on your podcast one day.
So you
can clip this back and be like, I talked about you in the early days.
Oh my God, who do I really love? So do you know who Trisha Paytas is?
I
love her.
Okay.
So her.
Cool.
She would be so amazing. So her, Trisha, if you're listening.
I don't think I have any questions about her. I don't know who she is.
And that's on you.
Sorry, Trisha. I apologize.
That's on you. Trisha Paytas is an icon. And even though this is everything but the law, and she probably would have no interest, Trisha, if you're watching and would love to come on this podcast, I would be over the moon. Anyway, so it would be Trisha Paytas. Who would be, well, what do I ask you? Who would be your dream investor?
Jeff Bezos. Jeff.
There you go.
Mr. Bezos, if you want to throw $1 billion this way, I'll take care of you.
Wow. Yeah. Me too, just for funsies. But anyway, I think we did a lot of talking. I learned so much, honestly. And I'm not just saying that. I learned a lot about you and about hard money lending. And we're going to talk a lot more off camera. Once again, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
And I had a great time, genuinely.
Super fun. And thanks for the tequila and the pineapple.
Of course, there's more coming your way after
Shout out
this.
to TJ once again.
Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
We will have your information in the info bar on YouTube or wherever it is. And if people are interested, I'm sure they can send you an email, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty easy to find. I'm at Nick Blatin on Instagram and all the other social channels. And then, or you can feel free to email me. You can DM me, you can email me. My email is privatemoneynick@gmail.com. So, again, fairly easy.
And we'll have all of that info.
Sure.
And so, anyway, yeah. And I think that's it for our episode. Thank you so much. And we will see you on episode 4.